October Red is sponsored by SA Security. Maximum security, minimum fuss.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome back. It's News and Reviews. I'm Abs of October Red, proudly sponsored by SA UK. Maximum security, minimum fuss. Raining this morning. I was supposed to go out for a run. So I run every morning before I go to work. But because of yesterday, the travelling, which is what I'm going to speak about, I kind of overslept and now I'm going to be too late. So I said, you know what? Let me do the review for you guys, because usually I can fit both of them in. Anyway, I hope you're all well. I've seen the comments on the YouTube videos. In fact, while I'm here, let's go. I'd like to say a personal shout out to 68DG because he's donated quite a lot to the YouTube channel, which I do appreciate. You know, I want to say stop. You know, save your money, spend it on something else. Albeit the donations, I really appreciate it. I understand that, you know, times are tough for everybody, and you know, I'd like you to save your money, even though, like I said, I do appreciate the kindness very much. Let me just go into my recent videos that I've got up, because we spoke to, I've got another video to put up actually with David Higgins. Yesterday, forgive my manners, I attended the Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley presser. A very good presser down in London, despite the tube strikes, etc, etc. We don't need to get into that. It was a pleasure to speak to both fighters. Got some comments here. I'm going to go to Fabio's conversation first, 'cause I think I uploaded that. Bad guy puts up, always talks a good game. Big lad. Game as F. Has the heart and chin to deliver. Great stuff. I hope he gets the job done. Cheers. And this was on the Fabio Wardley conversation that I had. Dazza, good morning to you as well. Enjoyed the conversation. Rooting for Fabio and his team. Could be a tough night for him. He's definitely got a chance. And great work as per usual. I appreciate that. Joseph, the same thing. Great work. 68DG's put, I like the fact I like both fighters. Good interview as always. Parker should get this, but I like the way he's left that cliffhanger there, because we don't know. Iron Warrior has said, has anybody seen Dillian White? Get him on October. I've tried. I have reached out to Dillian. He's nursing an injury at the moment, and he said that he's not doing any interviews, but he's hoping to be back by the end of the year. So we'll see what happens. Interesting. But I have reached out to him. Right, I've got a couple of comments here that I haven't replied to. Apologies, I haven't seen them yet. Hope Parker doesn't get the same ref who gave Honey the infamous short count. Ooh, I think it might be a bit different this time. And that is from the new natives, 5156. And we've got Avatar Dylan. Good luck, Fabio. I can see him winning this one. The English Wilder is about to strike again. One punch KO power in abundance. Then he might get Usyk, and that's the carrot, isn't it? Avatar, that is the carrot. If you said, good to see you. I'm rooting for Wardley. I think his style is all wrong for Parker. As at any moment he can counter him, he's going to stop him. Interesting. So we've got a few people backing the lovely Fabio Wardley. And then we've got probably about the equal amount going into back Joseph Parker. Birmingham Racing, shout out to you. And this is on the Parker interview. Love how humble and confident he is at the same time. It's going to take Fabio a lot of clean shots to stop him, but Parker is a smart fighter. Legal Eagles, good morning to you. He is a classy guy, as is Fabio. This is going to be a great fight. I'm going to get tickets for this event. That's good to know. I might see you there. And great interview. I appreciate that, Legal Eagles. Glassy 1979, two really nice guys. Like most, I expect Parker to be too good, but he often gets tagged, and Wardley has a puncher's chance. Looking forward to it. Base the Kid, shout out to you as well. Daz has put, should be a decent scrap, like both men, rooting for Fabio. Another great conversation. 68DG, once again, thank you so much for the donation. And he's put, your interviewing style is excellent. I've watched years of boxing and MMA media wasting the opportunities they have to interview fighters. They ask the same absolute BS questions, you don't. So keep up the work, Red, and it's the road to 10k. It definitely is the road to 10k, and I really do appreciate your kind words. Malcolm Marcellus says, let's go, Parker. 68DG says, easy route for Parker. Ricky Sunak has said, feels like Joel defended his title against Huey Fury on Channel 5 a lifetime ago. He's actually achieved a lot before his prime. I'd say AJ was in his prime and Parker was developing when they fought. And it's a good analogy, that is. And I'd say that it's definitely spot on. You're right. I can't even believe that was on Channel 5. What a blast from the past. It was almost like when we was talking about fighters retiring. But they're not. I want to shout out Boxing Beats and Rhymes, because he did a really good video and he counteracts everything I said. He's basically said, leave the fighters alone. Who are we to tell them when they should retire? I'm looking for, you know, this is Beats' word. He's looking forward to the bout between Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather. And he's even gone as far back to get some videos where Tyson doesn't rate him, and I think 50 Cent goes in on Mayweather as well. So yeah, Mike Tyson goes in on Floyd, saying he can't even take his kids to school. He has to have security everywhere he goes. And then 50 Cent must have done an interview where he said that, you know, Mike Tyson doesn't like Floyd Mayweather, he hates him, or whatever the words were, don't quote me on it. Go and have a listen to Boxing Beats and Rhymes. He breaks that down really well, and he provides really good points, to be fair. So there was something I did want to discuss, actually. Let me get back on the internet, and you know what it's going to be. It is Anthony Joshua. As we know, he likes to go on his, sometimes he goes on his rants. He's obviously, you know, sitting around watching what's going on in boxing, and he wants to be part of that as well, doesn't he? He doesn't want to be like left out in the cold. So he put up a post on his Instagram. Let me see, I think let's have a look. Let me find this post for you. Here we go. He goes, I can't lie, I'm proud of Joseph Parker, and he adds these people in here so they can see that he's talking about them. So I can't lie, I'm proud of Joseph Parker, even though he's a competitor. Real recognises real. He's in the game to fight whoever, whenever, and that's the DNA of a real general. Unlike his dippy mate at Tyson Fury. I would dissect his career record in minutes, but I'll leave that for a potential gloves are off if he ever comes back and fights Big Femi. At Fabio Wardley, respect to you as well. Bro was working in recruitment, helping your dad get a job a couple of years ago. Now, I'm presuming he means a couple of years ago, but whatever, he's said it a couple of years ago. So I think he's either saying he was working in recruitment, helping Fabio's dad get a job a couple of years ago, or one of his people was. But I'm presuming he's speaking in the third person, so he's on about himself. Maybe Anthony Joshua had a job in recruitment, I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And he goes, let that be a testament to God, rooting in one's favour and a statement to show nothing is impossible if you can have a scrap. Haha. To my supporters, I'll be back to lace up my boots and put on my gloves sooner than later, hopefully punching Fury's head in and dancing around his flicker jab with ease. So he's sat there, he's sat at home, he's obviously recovering, thinking about fighting. Obviously that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Gervonta, probably not going to be fighting him. And he's obviously, quite rightly so, getting itchy knuckles. When I first read the message, I thought, what is he on about? And then I read it again, I'm like, it's the call out, isn't it? And he sees himself as the godfather of boxing. What he's done, the opportunities that he's created. Love him or hate him, he put British boxing on the map for heavyweights. Both him and Eddie Hearn working together has done great things for boxing. Now, us fans, and I'll put my hands up on one of them, and I know we're fickle. If somebody does something that we don't quite like or we don't quite understand, we're quick to put the boot in. And I think he's had a lot of boots put into him over time, and we've seen what was a great fighter, slightly deteriorate. And I'm looking at that thinking, you're as good as your last fight. I spoke to Anthony Joshua, not on tape for some reason. He doesn't want to do an interview with me. He seems to give one to everybody else, but he's quite open to speak to me off camera. And he's actually he's a cool person. As an older person, I always put on like the mom hat when I think of these fighters, because a lot of them, well, all of them are younger than me. I just think he needs just real good support around him, and somebody that really understands who he is, and somebody that he can grow with as a fighter. That's my opinion. He needs people around him that will put him in his place if he needs to be put in his place, and not people that are just there cashing a check, which has always been my opinion when it comes to some of the people that he's got around him. And I've always said that, and I've said it out loud, so I'm not being two-faced about it. I always admire the fighters that I see potentially walk alone or with not so many people, because you can see that they know themselves, and they don't need to have an entourage to prove themselves, if that makes sense. But I know money attracts people, all sorts of people for all sorts of reasons, and yeah, it's a dangerous world. But let me know what you think about Anthony Joshua's post, and he posted that on Instagram, and it's been screenshotted and sent around. Interesting. So hopefully he is back sooner than later. Deontay Wilder apparently has done a recent interview, and I think it might have been with Ariel Helwani. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. Haven't got the source. I've just seen something flickering about saying that he wants to continue to box until he's 50 years old. Interesting that, isn't it? So yeah. Yep, so yeah, Anthony Joshua fires back at Tyson Fury. Like I said, let me know what your thoughts are about that. Also, carry on the discussion about Parker and Wardley and who wins. I'm interested to see who's going to be on the undercard. It's not yet been announced. Probably some things are bubbling in the background, because usually what happens, whoever's at the top of the card, they try and introduce their fighters and get their fighters on the card. So in that case, obviously with Fabio Wardley, it's Team White, isn't it? It's Dillian White's team. So let's see who they put on the undercard. Apparently, Frank Bruno shares a positive health update. I think he had a medical emergency. I don't know if he was travelling. I think he was had a viral infection and suffered some memory loss. But apparently now he's back to working out daily, because he was always very fit. And he continues his advocacy with mental health which is something that obviously, you know, he's been a great advocate for because of his own suffering with mental health. Brain, boxing. I keep on going on about the insurance for the private medical healthcare insurance, potential counselling that fighters should have, you know, after every single fight, probably have counselling once every couple of months, you know, as a minimum, just to get stuff off their chest, to clear their mind. It's all psychological, isn't it? And like I said, it's me with my mummy hat on again. But I believe medical healthcare insurance and looking after your mental health is paramount. As you know, fighting is a mental game. That's going to put a lot of pressure on you over time, especially if your career is a long and hard one. Excuse the pun. Or these days we say pause, but you know what I mean. Allegedly, because I don't know what's happening with Darren Till and Carl Froch. I know Darren Till was screaming at him after he had his fight the other day. Carl Froch didn't really say anything, got off, and then went home and did a video, as he does, you know, trolling him, saying whatever he was going to say, saying that he got choked out in the MMA, etc, etc. You know what Carl's like. He's humorous. I do like watching his videos as well when I can. But at the moment, my go-to channel is Boxing Beats and Rhymes. Also, Base the Kid as well. Shout out to him for his picks. He's very good with his picks, and he breaks down why he's picking the fighters. So you might want to have a listen to him as well. And Danny from Fight Fan TV, have a listen to him. You will, if any person he gets on his channel, you will find out so much about them. It really goes back into history. I can see in a few years' time people going back to Danny's interviews and being able to form some kind of, I don't know, a documentation library on everything about that fighter, where they were born, who they grew up with, what school they went to, and it's so detailed. His interviews are often probably the 2-hour mark. So put that on in the background when you're training, cleaning, cooking, whatever. You might have to watch it over a couple of days, or you might be that intrigued you stay and listen to all of it. But yeah, those are my go-to channels. Steffy Bull, I'm going to talk about that briefly. Known as the coach of Terry Harper and other fighters as well. Excuse me while I sip my coffee. I'm going to need a lot of that today. Has been sentenced to 10 years after being convicted for conspiring to supply Class A, namely cocaine. So he was found to have coordinated large-scale drugs transactions via the EncroChat. No mobile is safe, is it? This verdict shocked the boxing community. Well, one thing about boxing I've learned is never to be shocked by anything. He got a 10-year sentence. Don't know how much cocaine it was. Haven't looked into the case in a lot of detail, but 10 years, that's a decent sentence, that is. And I don't think he pleaded guilty, so I don't know if he'll get any percentages off, because I'm sure he went in not guilty to start off with. But it's devastating that he chose to do this, because he had some good fighters. He was a good coach. He did wonders with Terry. I think there's some implication that he was doing it from the gym. So that's not fair on the fighters, because that drags them in. I bet they've all been called in and questioned and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. Not saying that they have to comment or whatever, but it's unnecessary. So now he's going to have to go and sit down and do a few years. When they say conspiracy, obviously there's going to be more than one person. Obviously the EncroChat is the coded chat that's on the phone. So obviously once they get the phones and get into them phones, it's curtains for you, because obviously you think they've got systems that can break into those things and read through them. And then, yeah, crazy stuff. So yeah, 10 years for him. I think he's the same age as me, 47, 48. So yeah, coming out mid-50s? Well, he'll probably do 7. Coming out when he was in his mid-50s, it's long, ain't it? Money makes you do crazy things. And that's why I know that everyone's got to get paid. And I understand, it's a necessity. But greed is often what gets you into trouble. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Never mind. So, Terry's got to carry on with her careers. Other fighters have got to carry on with their career as well. This week, we've also got Crocker Donovan 2. Really looking forward to that. I was supposed to go over, but I can't get the time off work because I was going to go over from, I think it was Wednesday, and go over for the fight night. Usually I would say I'd go over for the fight night, but with Matchroom, it's only certain channels that can get backstage to do interviews, so potentially you don't get interviews post-fight unless they've changed the way they operate. So I'll be a bit miffed if I got on the aeroplane, went over fight night, and I couldn't get any interviews, So, and then Eddie's going to be there till whatever time in the morning, like doing thousands of interviews like he does, even though I think he's cut back on doing interviews actually. So I'm going to see if I can get some guests on the channel in the evening, like I tried to do last week, but that failed miserably for the Sunderland card, and just see if I can still get you guys some content. I will be doing a watch along fight night. I didn't do one last week because we've been having some road works. I don't know what's going on where you are, but a lot of the roads are getting dug up where we are in Birmingham, and it's causing havoc with my internet. So I've had a bit of unstable internet, and one thing, and it's happened to me before, where we've been doing the lives and then it's cut off. I ain't doing that. But this week we should be all set. I've had a couple of you ask if I'm going to do Canelo Crawford. I'm seriously thinking about it, but you know what I'm like with the American times. I'll leave that to the hardcores that are going to be up. If anything, I might just set the alarm just for Canelo Crawford, but the card's a good card, so we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't do all the fights anyway. If anything, I'd probably get up from about 4 a.m. So we'll see what happens with that. And more than likely on Sunday, we'll be doing a Fight Talk live, which is obviously Bass, Danny, myself. Don't know if Maestro's going to turn up, but we'll probably do discussions around that anyway. So yeah, really interesting week for fighting. Frank Warren has said he's got some more announcements coming up soon. And one of the things that Joseph Parker said to me, I don't know if you've picked it up, that he was offered to fight Daniel Dubois in December. Remember, they're supposed to fight anyway. Or the option is fight Fabio Wardley now. So Parker said, I just want to fight. So he took the earlier fight. Now that leaves something open. I know Frank Warren has been on TalkSport, but because I was in London, I haven't caught up with everything that's going on there. So I know you guys will put it in the comments, but I will catch up with all of that, including the grand arrivals for Canelo Crawford as well. Who is Daniel Dubois going to fight in December? And if I was Frank, because I'm a demon, but I'm obviously not Frank, I'm not Uncle Frank, I'll put him in with Moses. I'll let you guys do the maths on why he does that and who wins that fight. I do think Moses wins that fight. You call me crazy? Call me crazy. Say what you want. Yeah? But if I was Frank, I'd put him in with him. But he probably won't. But is there going to be another heavyweight card is what I'm saying. Obviously, we've got October the 25th for Parker Wardley. We're here in December for Moses. 100% Moses, Manchester, December. A Christmas special. And I'm hearing Daniel Dubois is potentially going to be ready for December. So either going to put him with or they're going to put them in with each other. Dillian Whyte has mentioned that he's potentially coming back later on in the year. Is he going to be on the card? Who knows? All sorts of weird and wonderful questions that need answering. But that's it from me today. I said it was going to be a quick one. We've been going for 24 minutes. You know what I'm like once I start rattling on. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys very much. Keep subscribing, because I've looked and it's 80% that watch my videos and don't subscribe. I need to push my numbers up as well. Don't know what's going on there. I've got my own ideas why my viewership is dropping. I've got my own ideas, but I'll keep my tinfoil hat ideas to myself. But I am trying to push for 10k, as you know, and I also would like you guys to subscribe, share, do all the good stuff that will help the channel grow. I don't think there's anything else worth talking about. If I've missed anything out that you see as relevant, please put it in the comments. Once again, I'm going to shout out to my sponsors, SA UK, Maximum Security Minimum Fuss, and the usual au revoir from me. Stay ready.
October Red is sponsored by SA Security, Maximum Security, Minimum Fuss.